Hi, my name is Katie Whittigan, and I am an intuitive life coach, which means that I help my clients connect with their own internal sense of wisdom and knowing that exists within each of us to help gain clarity and guidance on their path forward. And today I wanted to chat a little bit about a common question I often receive from clients, which is, why do we often resist change? If we're seeking assistance in how to change, then why so often in that process do we come up against a lot of resistance to the very change we're seeking? It's a great question, and it is a very common experience as well. So I'm here to shed a little clarity on this process. One of the reasons why change is often resisted is, simply put, fear. Now, that's an interesting concept because a lot of times we're seeking change because our suffering has gotten to a point that we want to make a change. And yet we are familiar with the suffering and we know what to expect with the suffering. Whereas when we embark upon change or personal growth, there's a lot of unknowns of what might come up, what might be there, what might happen. And for many people, it has this underlying layer of repressed emotions. In other words, oftentimes what we're really struggling with is built up anger, built up resentment, things of that nature. And when these type of things are affecting us, it's really the fear of experiencing the emotions that we've really been pushing off or repressing for quite some time. And it's a very real fear because it's can feel very overwhelming to begin to feel some of these emotions we haven't been feeling for a very long time. And I like to explain it by using an analogy. So imagine that you're in your home and there comes a knock on the door and it's anger at the door and they're banging at the door, let me in, let me in. And no surprise, you don't really want to hang out with anger. So you don't answer the door. So you just hope and pray that if you're quiet in your house, anger will just go away and stop banging on the door and you can just live in peace in your house. But that's not how it works, does it? So anger just keeps banging and keeps banging. And the more you just stay quiet in your house and try to hope that anger goes away, the louder and louder that anger becomes. So as a result, you could sit there for a day, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, to the point that you're inside your house with your hands over your ears, just rocking back and forth and just hoping and praying that anger will go away. But the reality is, anger's not going to go away. Anger's going to persist and get louder and louder. And now you're not peacefully in your home. You're very distraught. And actually, what you're focusing on most is the fact that anger's at your door. Even though you're resisting it, even though you're not letting anger in, you can't help but focus on the fact that anger's banging at your door. And the longer you spend in your home pretending that anger's not at your door knocking, the longer you spend trying to ignore it, the more you build up the fear of letting anger in. In other words, if you've resisted it for this long, it must be something worth resisting for that long. However, in reality, if you just go to the door and you let anger in, and you invite anger in for tea, then all of a sudden, you're face to face with anger. Now, is anger ever really comfortable to feel? No, not necessarily, usually not for most of us. But once you stop resisting the anger, once you stop ignoring it and pretending that it's not there, even though a lot of your attention really is on anger at the door, once you invite anger in for tea and sing across the table from anger, you begin to realize that all that built up resistance was just that, built up resistance. And it doesn't necessarily match the gravity of the emotion itself, but purely the amount of resistance you've built up for the amount of time you've been resisting it. That's all it is. So oftentimes our fear will match our level of resistance, when in actuality, the things we're resisting the most don't necessarily match that level of resistance or that level of fear. So you find yourself across the table from anger, then what? Well, then anger finally feels acknowledged and heard and has the ability to transform and evolve. Anger can be a very useful emotion. It can let us know when things feel unjust, when things are maybe not equal or imbalanced. And in that awareness, it allows us to make choices and to alter some of our interactions or our surroundings, so that those injustices or those imbalances can be given the attention that they need. Every time I work with clients on these types of things and they feel a lot of resistance bubbling up to the very change they came to me to seek help with, when we actually face that resistance, whatever it is, maybe it's fear of success, maybe it's fear of feeling repressed emotions, maybe whatever it is, they always tell me afterward, it wasn't as bad as I had built it up to be. It wasn't as bad as I had built it up to be. And so it's really just the trap we put ourselves in when we make the assumption that the amount of time that we've spent resisting something and the amount of resistance that we have to it must equal how bad the thing we're resisting is. And in actuality, those things are not equal. So as you embark on your transformation journey, whatever that may mean for you, I encourage you to challenge the assumptions that whatever you're resisting, however much fear you're feeling regarding whatever it is that you're afraid to uncover, is equal to the actual thing you're trying to resist. And at this point, if you're in your home with your hands over your ears, rocking yourself, trying to pretend that resistance isn't there, you're not enjoying anything about being in your home. So what do you have to lose at this point? If you have any further questions, I love doing these videos and addressing common questions. So please make a comment and let me know if you have a question you'd like to address in one of these videos. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day and be well.